Hello YouTube, how you guys doing today? Thanks for stopping by, being a passenger on the P Reacts Daily Train. I appreciate everybody that's been coming by and helping out with the channel. Please like, comment, subscribe. It really helps out, especially since I'm a newer channel. Also, it helps with the algorithm. Don't forget, this is not a substitute for the original content, so go over to the original artist, watch it on their channel, give them a like, show them some love. Also, we don't redistribute any of the content, so we're following all the copyright rules. My name is P, and we'll get started on this video as soon as we see our disclaimer. Alrighty, in today's video, we're going to be doing some of our top 10 series, top 25, that kind of idea of videos. The one we're doing today is called Best-Selling Music Artist from 1969 through 2019. So we'll kind of see, like it's showing here, it's showing the Beatles is #1 right now in 1969. And this is not a substitute for the original content. So go to the original content's channel, watch it on their channel, give them a like, show them some love, and so on. Because we are only a reaction. We're just here to do a reaction to it. We're not a substitute for the original. The name on this channel is Data is Beautiful. So go over to their channel, give them some love. And let's get started on this and check this out and see how this works out. So these are dollars of sales, I guess, or record sales. So digital singles. So this is like albums sold, digital singles, all that. So this ain't money. This is how many sales they made or how many items were sold for them. Wow, it's totally switching. You got Beatles holding it up. Elvis, Simon and Garfunkel, Bee Gees, Barbra Streisand, The Doors, Pink Floyd, Neil Diamond, Cher, Santana, Led Zeppelin. You'd be surprised how many of these people are still around today. So that last one was 1971 when I was naming them off. And the Beatles, all these years, from 69 through 72, are still #1. But Elvis is a close second here. So it's been the Beatles and Elvis all those years. And then the others are adjusting and moving up in the ranks, and some are dropping down. So now we have, who do we have in there now? Billy Joel came into the picture in 1972. Pink Floyd's holding steady. They're still upright in the same top 10, basically. Led Zeppelin moved up a lot. They were down towards the bottom. Now they're all the way up there. Okay, now we have 1973. Oh, man. So a year later, the Beatles, after like almost four and a half years, dropped down to third. Elvis stayed second, which is barely ahead of the Beatles. So they're pretty much average. They're pretty much the same now. Led Zeppelin took first place, and they were all the way down in 9th place in like 71. So yeah, that was a nice one. Barbra Streisand's holding it about the same area, 4th, 5th area. Pink Floyd's moving up a little. Doors are holding steady at that same range. Simon and Garfunkel, Santana. Carpenter's moved into it now. Billy Joel moved up a little. All right, so man, the Eagles came in within a year and went from 10th all the way up to what, 6th place? So the Eagles jumped in and moved up quick. Carpenters are still there. Billy Joel, Santana, Doors, Bee Gees, they're all still there. Barbra Streisand's still there. And now Elvis. Elvis is in first place in 74. Elvis moved up. So he was, what, about 71 he was in there. Or 69. He was in there in 69, holding about 2nd place, really doing popular, and now he's up to #1 in the mid-70 area. Very nice. All right, Elton John came into the scene in like early the 74 area, moved in, and then by 75 he was all the way up to 4th place. Look how big of an artist he is. And he moved in and moved up to like 4th place real quick within a year. Santana's still there. Carpenters, Billy Joel, Bee Gees. Man, the Bee Gees seemed like they were very, very, very popular there. But maybe they haven't gotten to the really good songs yet. Maybe that's why they're still down a ways. Eagles moved up. Pink Floyd holding steady, moved up a hair. And then the top 3, man, they're pretty much staying up there. Man, Elton John just flew onto the scene, man. Started out in 74, moved up to like what 4th in 75. Now he's up to 1st in 76. Within 2 years, he just blew all the way up there. Man, crazy. ABBA came into the scene and moved all the way up to like 6th place, halfway up the top 10 in just like 1 year's time. Crazy. Beatles still holding number 3, Elvis number 2, and they're even spreading a little bit apart there. Wow, the Eagles jumped all of a sudden in 1977. They jumped up to 1st place, knocked Elton John down to 3rd. Elvis holding steady at 2nd place, but Elvis had a massive, massive, massive fan base, and there were diehard fans too. So that's probably why it's just holding steady at 2nd all the time. Beatles dropped down another one. Queen came onto the scene. Queen jumped all the way up there too with 5th place in like 1 year. So man, they're really jumping in there too. Man, Aerosmith jumped into 10th and then dropped back out there real quick in 77. So they'll probably jump in here pretty soon too. Yeah, let me see. Eagles still there. Elvis, Beatles, Led Zeppelin, still them guys. Elton John's dropping there. Queen, they're in the list now. Pink Floyd dropped back down. They went from like 4th, 5th, all the way back down to 10th now. So they're fading out a little, it seems. There we go. 79. Eagles still at 1st. Elvis still at 2nd. Beatles still at 3rd. Fleetwood Mac just came on the scene and got to 4th place in a year. Fleetwood Mac, oh, one of my favorite groups. Very nice, very nice. Led Zeppelin dropped a little. ABBA's holding steady right around the middle of the top 10. Pink Floyd down there. Elton John's down to 9th now. Bee Gees moved up for a while, but then dropped back down, I noticed, in 78. But yeah, Neil Diamond's moving up a little. There we are. 1980. Eagles still up there. Man, Eagles were like number 1 for a long, long time. Michael Jackson just came on the scene within a year. His solo career, because he was out with Jackson 5 for years before this. But he jumped all the way to number 2. Dropped Elvis down to number 3. Beatles number 4. Fleetwood Mac holding strong at number 5. All these other guys have dropped. Neil Diamond's dropping. Pink Floyd's dropping. Elton John's dropping. Billy Joel moved up a hair. ABBA's staying up there right around the middle. Okay, so yeah, Michael Jackson jumped all the way to number 1 by a lot. Over 1.1 million ahead of the Eagles. And look how long the Eagles were there, and Michael Jackson just came along and boom. So Jackson number 1, Eagles number 2. Pink Floyd moved up again. That is a little strange. They were way down there, and now they jumped all the way back up next year. So they must have really, maybe that, but this possibly could be when the Brick in the Wall album came out, because that's like one of their best albums. Elvis dropped to number 4, Beatles number 5, Fleetwood Mac went down because the others were just holding a little bit ahead of them. And Led Zeppelin dropped down, Queen dropped down, Billy Joel's holding steady right down there. Elton John went up a hair. Yeah, Queen moved up real quick all of a sudden. Holy cow. Michael Jackson, Queen, Eagles, AC/DC came on the scene within a year and just blew it out of the park. They're all the way up to number 4. Elvis down there to way down to 5th now. He's starting to fade out here. Of course, this was after, I think it was what, 77 or 78, I believe it was, that Elvis was no longer here because of the stuff he was doing. What else? Beatles dropped way down. Man, they're down there now. They're down to 7th place. Fleetwood Mac went down. That's surprising because they were like big for a long, long time. Prince came on the scene. Prince is down there. Yay, Prince. Yeah, Prince is moving up. Michael Jackson, Queen, Eagles. Eagles moved back up that way a little bit. Elton John jumped all the way back up again. So yeah, this is probably mainly based on whatever songs came out that year then, because people just like, oh yeah, love it, love it, love it. Yeah. So that's what I'm thinking. Beatles are down there. They're all the way down. Oh no, still at 7th. Prince moved up to 6th. Fleetwood Mac, Pink Floyd, AC/DC dropped back down. So that's a little bit weird how they dropped all the way back down there when they were way up towards the top there. What were they like? I think it was like 4th. So then they dropped all the way back to 10th. So that's interesting. All right, Aerosmith back on the scene. They jumped back up again. Fleetwood Mac, Jackson, Queen, Elton John, Prince, Elvis. So that, yeah, stayed pretty close to the same there at the top. The bottom's adjusting here and there. I think Barbra Streisand's dropped off maybe a year or two ago, it looks like, maybe. Because I don't remember seeing her for the past couple of times. What do we got? 2, 4, 6. Beatles dropped to 8th. All right, so 85, Michael Jackson, Prince. I remember those days. They were the 2 hottest ones along with Madonna, which she hasn't popped up yet, but yeah, very nice year. I like this. This is my years of listening to music and jamming out and doing all this exciting teen stuff and the teens and stuff. Elvis, Billy Joel's moving up. Yeah, he was hot. Back, I remember when I was a teen, it was Michael Jackson, Prince, Madonna, Billy Joel, Fleetwood Mac. Yeah, that was the main ones I heard a lot. Besides, I listened to a lot of hip hop back then too, and stuff like that, and breakdancing music and stuff like that. So, but on the top 40 channels, it was the ones I just named. Eagles, they dropped all the way down now. They're down to 10 from number 1 for all those years. Madonna, just in like 3 months, went from not even on top of like number 11 all the way up to number 3. There it is, like just like I said. Michael Jackson, Prince, Madonna. The top ones you heard always. All right, 86, Madonna, Michael Jackson, Bruce Springsteen, Prince, Phil Collins on the scene, Dire Straits. I like them. I like their songs too. Billy Joel's still there. Aerosmith's still there. All right, 87, we have Michael Jackson, Madonna, Bruce Springsteen, Phil Collins, Elton John, Whitney Houston's on the scene. Dire Straits, Queen, Billy Joel, Elvis. Elvis is still there in 87. Aerosmith. Where'd Prince go? Prince dropped off. What the heck? That's odd. That is odd. But man, I can't believe Elvis is still going. Wow. All right. 88. Michael Jackson, Madonna, Elton John, Bruce Springsteen, Queen. Queen's still up there. Phil Collins. Yeah, Bon Jovi's on the scene. We're getting into all the hair bands music. Whitney's still on there. Billy Joel, Elvis, Fleetwood Mac. I just don't remember hearing much Elvis going on in the 80s. I do not. Because I was thinking from what I remember hearing and listening to and what's played around me. I don't remember any Elvis after like the 70s. Or very, very rarely, you know. I mean, you might hear it like Christmas songs or, you know, stuff like that. And, you know, my grandparents would listen to them. So, but yeah, wow, that's crazy. He's still, because I had no clue about that. All right, 1989, Michael Jackson, Madonna, the top two. Elton John, Queen, Whitney, Bruce Springsteen, Phil Collins, U2 on the scene, George Michael on the scene, Guns N' Roses. Okay, yeah. So you got those hair bands started around 88, 89 area, and they're just blowing it out of the water. All right, the Beatles. The Beatles is popped back on the list. Number 10, George Michael, Elvis. Metallica's on the list now. Michael Jackson, Madonna still at the top. Queen, Elton John. Yeah, this sounds correct. Yeah. Yeah, this is why I love the 80s music. It's my favorite. It always will be. Nothing they play nowadays is going to top any of that stuff. I mean, you might have a group like, say, like The Warning, that is a good group for nowadays for what you have to pick from. Yeah, I like them. But there's not going to be the music like the 80s. I like almost everybody was good in the 80s. The pop music, the rock music, the metal was good, the hip hop was good, the rap was good. I mean, everything was good from the 80s. Everything. The only thing I didn't care for in the 80s was country, but I was never a country fan. But then again, you didn't have like the modern country in the 80s. You had in the 70s, it was country and western, is what it was called. It was that slower, whiny voice, twangy sound. And I couldn't stand that growing up. I hated that music. I just, even listen, somebody would be playing it in the car. I'm like, can you please turn it off? I hate this stuff. You know, it's like, oh my gosh, I would not listen to that for nothing. And my grandparents used to play it all the time. So yeah, it was just, oh. But then like the 80s, it was changing a little bit. And then by the 90s, it started becoming like more country rock. And then by the 2000s, it didn't even sound like country anymore. It sounds like rock nowadays. It's country sounds like the old rock. So yeah, it's changed. So country is tolerable nowadays. Some songs are even good. Um, but yeah, there we are. 92, Madonna, Michael Jackson, top two. I remember that. I just remembered because like Madonna, Michael Jackson, and Prince. Well, I don't see Prince on here much, but they were like the top three that you would hear constantly on the radio, at least where I was from. And maybe this is like a national average or a worldwide average. So maybe Prince wasn't played everywhere, and so that's why it's not on this as much. But I don't know. Because I always considered Prince to be right on side of Michael Jackson and Madonna. They were like the three biggest superstars of the times for the 80s and maybe even into the early 90s. Yeah. Metallica, Guns N' Roses, Elvis, Beatles. Garth Brooks moved on to the list. I remember yeah, I think it was like the early 90s. He was the big man of country during those times. That's all everybody talked about. Elvis still going. I can't believe. Well, it's probably a lot of maybe it's memorabilia because he was gone in like I think it was 78, 77. And so that when that happened, that probably just skyrocketed everybody buying his merch and all that stuff. And so his sales were continuing on because he was named the king of rock and roll because he was like the big thing for years and years. So we got the beginning of grunge. Nirvana came onto the scene. So about 93, I think that's 92, 93 is when grunge started. So yeah, or close to that time frame. Michael Jackson, Madonna, Metallica's up there now. Whitney, Queen, Garth Brooks. Whew. Elton John still holding strong. Guns N' Roses, Nirvana's on the scene. Bruce Springsteen still on there. Elvis there. Elvis popped up there and went and dropped off. So first 1/3 of the 90s is, I guess, when Elvis started dropping off. Then Whitney #1. Michael Jackson, Garth, Madonna dropped. Guns N' Roses, Madonna. Elton John dropped. Nirvana. Eric Clapton. Wow. Queen dropped down to 10th. Michael Jackson back to 1. Mariah #2. Whitney #3. That makes a lot of sense. Those three. Booyah. The 90s, yeah. You had a lot of Whitney in the 90s, a lot of Mariah in the 90s, a lot of Michael Jackson. That makes a lot of sense. Madonna was still doing it. I mean, Madonna's like Michael Jackson. She sang for years and years and years. A lot of people may not know her music, but she was out for decades, 30, 40 years of singing at least. Michael Jackson, 50 years of singing. Well, not 50, 40, about 45. Because Michael Jackson started singing around the age of 5, and he was 50 when he left. So 45 years out of the 50 he was here, that he was a singer. That's insane to me. Mariah, she kind of had a short career, and I think, because she only really sang for maybe 10 years, roughly, give or take a little. Maybe 15 years. But then her Christmas song, everybody seems to love her Christmas music. And I don't know, my opinion, I like the traditional Christmas music, like the old fashioned, like original Christmas songs. Like all the modern artists that make Christmas songs, there's very, very, very few that I like. And out of those, there's only a very few I listen to on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. Like when we're doing presents, it's all classics, like the Bing Crosby White Christmas and the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Those, all the classic ones. I don't listen to none of this modern stuff on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. To me, that's not Christmas. I got to listen to what I heard as a child. From like 14, from the time I was born until I was 14, those Christmas songs to me are what was classic to me. Or stuff before I was born, classics. Because a lot of the stuff I listened to when I was a kid during Christmas was either during the time I was born up until I was that age or before that. So that is traditional Christmas for me. All right, so Michael, Garth, Whitney, Mariah, Bon Jovi, Madonna, Metallica, Guns N' Roses. Yeah, these all make a lot of sense. Celine Dion onto the scene. Yeah. Yeah, those top 7 for sure. Yeah, all I remember listening to. Michael Jackson, Mariah, Garth, Whitney, Shania Twain on the scene. She jumped up. Backstreet Boys. There they go. They come on. The boy bands are starting up now, late 90s. All the boy bands. Madonna's still there. Metallica, Guns N' Roses, Bon Jovi. See, the metal bands, the hair bands. Everybody always says the hair bands were the 80s. They kind of started in the 80s, but they were really popular in the 90s too. That's when a lot of the hair bands, when you see all these rockers with the big bushy hair and the sex, drugs, and rock and roll and all that kind of craziness, and the wild parties, that was mainly in the 90s. Yeah, I see you got AC/DC, Metallica. Uh, oh, the others dropped off. So they're getting replaced by each other. Yes. Oh, Celine. Dang. Celine went to #1. Backstreet #2. Garth Brooks #3. What a time this was. This was a time when I wasn't listening to a lot of the modern music. I started listening to more of the 80s stuff because it started becoming a little iffy for me. I mean, we still had things, so most of my music I listened to on my CD or my USB in my car is all 80s music, and there's a few from the earlier 90s, like 90 to 95. a few artists that have a couple songs, not all their songs, but just a couple on there. That's what's in my car, like 529 songs from the 80s and a few songs from the early 90s. And that's what I listen to every time I'm in the car, and I'm in the car a lot for work. So, yeah. All right, 99, Elton John back to the top. Wow, jumped up again. Backstreet, Celine. So people are liking the more slower, mellow music. This ain't like the fast, hard hitting. This is like Elton John, Backstreet Boys, kind of the medium, mellow sound. Celine, Mariah, Garth, Shania, Whitney. Yeah, this is all the mellow rock or the medium paced. So people were more mellow in the late 90s, it looks like. 1000, Backstreet, Mariah, Celine, Eminem's on the scene. Uh-oh. There's Eminem. He's going to go up quick because everybody, when he came out, oh my God, they loved how he was just saying things that nobody would say. And that's one of the reasons I listened to him for a long time. Because I love the things he was saying. It was making me laugh and just get on, in a way it molded my personality because I became that no care. I don't care what you think. I say things, and if it hurts your feelings, tough crap type of person. It's like, get over it. Okay, Eminem at the top. Yep. Backstreet, Celine. Jay-Z on the scene down there. Lil Wayne on there. Hey. Eminem still at the top. Britney Spears. Mariah. Linkin Park. Hey, there they are. Jay-Z moved up a hair. Lil Wayne. Eminem, Mariah. Britney, Garth. Lil Wayne jumped up pretty good. Jay-Z jumped up pretty good. Linkin Park's staying around the middle. Christina Aguilera, a very good singer, she is. Eminem and Lil Wayne, the top two in 2004. That is crazy. Mariah, Jay-Z right there too. Madonna dropped down. Maroon 5 on the list. You can kind of tell. Look at that. Top 3 rappers. That you can start tell when rap was really starting to take off with the population. You got Eminem, Lil Wayne, Jay-Z at the top. The country person is 5th. The mellow rock singing is 4th with Mariah. Maroon 5 down there. Whitney still there. Celine, Madonna still on there, hanging on. Eminem, Lil Wayne, Jay-Z, they're holding on up there too. Boy, the mid 2000s are like good year for rapping. Britney, Maroon, Linkin Park. All right, yeah. So there you go. Rihanna just flew up that list in a year. Eminem, Rihanna, Lil Wayne, Jay-Z, Mariah's right there. That makes a lot of sense. Garth Brooks is going down. Coldplay. Coldplay's on the list. Beyonce on the list. Kanye West on the list. All right, so Rihanna, Eminem, they swapped sides. Jay-Z, Lil Wayne. Man, insane. Kanye's moving up. Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift's on the scene. Chris Brown's on the scene. Beyonce. Rihanna, Eminem, Flo Rida. I got one of his CDs. He must be from Florida because it's spelled the same, just with a break in the middle. Lady Gaga on the scene. Hey, Chris Brown, Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne dropped down quick. Okay, so Rihanna, Lady Gaga, Eminem, Taylor Swift, Kesha, Katy Perry on the scene. Yeah. All right, Rihanna, Kesha, Taylor Swift. Wow. Flo Rida, Eminem, Lady Gaga, Drake. Drake on the scene. Chris Brown, Katy Perry, Bruno Mars on the scene. He's going to move up quick, I think. All right, yeah, Bruno Mars definitely moved up quick. Rihanna, Bruno Mars, Taylor Swift, Drake, Eminem, Gaga, Adele, Justin Bieber. Yeah. I cannot believe Drake is up to number 2. That is surprising. I mean, I know who Drake is by his picture. I know what he looks like. And I hear people talking about him. He's from Canada. He's a rapper. But I've never once heard one of his songs ever. So how the heck is he number 2? And I used to listen to rap and hip hop. I've never heard a Drake song in my life. Or at least not that I know of. And I'm pretty much know a lot of the who sings what. Adele, One Direction on the scene, Justin Bieber, Chris Brown, Kanye. All right, Psy. Everybody knows who Psy is. Gangnam Style. Drake number 1. What the heck? This has to be worldwide because I don't remember even listening to the radios and hearing Drake. Rihanna, Ed Sheeran. Adele dropped down. Drake's still number 1. Dang, that's crazy. Taylor Swift, Ed Sheeran, Katy Perry. Who else do we got? One Direction. Pharrell Williams is on the list. All right, Drake, Bruno, and Nicki Minaj on the list. Wiz Khalifa, Katy Perry, Nicki Minaj. All right, what do we got? Drake still. This must have been like the teenager top 40 stuff that he was playing because, like I said, never even heard one of his songs that I know of. I mean, I guess it's possible I heard something top 40, but I didn't know it was him, and they maybe never said his name after the song was over or something. BTS. Heard of them, but I don't know what they sing. I see Kendrick Lamar popped on and went off, and I've heard of him, don't know what he sings. Who the heck is Luis Fonsi? This has to be worldwide, because I've never heard of that person in my life. Who the hell is Luis Fonsi? I'm thinking like he's an opera singer or some of that la 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 singing type of stuff that I don't know. Because that kind of singing is popular, I think, in a lot of other countries, but in the United States, not so much. We don't have, I mean, you have a smaller population that may listen to that, like opera music and that kind of stuff, and those like vocal singing type things. Most of our music that the majority of the population listen to is rock, metal, rap, dance, beady music that you dance to. I guess that's the end. But Adele, yeah, there at the end there, a lot of these guys stayed on there for several years. I still cannot believe Drake has been up there all this time like that. That is insane to me. That is totally insane to me. So this has to be a worldwide chart, not a United States chart. Thank you guys for stopping by. Hope you liked this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. This is part of our top 10, top 25 series of videos. Yeah, so let me know what else you'd like to see. You beautiful people have a great day, and goodbye for now.